Welcome to the LDS Man's Heart by Forged and Anchored. My name is Cortland Watson. I am one of the hosts and one of the contributors to the LDS Man's Heart. We welcome you and hope that as you participate and engage and comment and like, subscribe, all of that, that you'll be able to understand that the intent of this podcast is to be able to connect. We want men to have a space where they can have or engage in genuine conversations. It's not just about kind of the podcast or getting listened to, but having conversations that sometimes we don't get to have. We do tailor our message to LDS men. That's because all three of us are LDS. We use references to LDS scripture, but we want everyone to participate. We want all denominations, or if you're not even someone that's practicing faith, we hope that you'll come and join us and engage, comment. The last thing that we have to say just before we get started, this is the LDS Man's Heart, a podcast. Three men that are LDS with totally different backgrounds and stories coming together to be able to talk about things that are important. We don't speak for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We are not sponsored by them. We're just three LDS men coming together, having genuine conversations, telling our stories, and talking about the things that matter. We want you to understand that if you are numb, excited about life, whatever it may be, wherever you are, that you can come and engage in this genuine conversation with us. So without further ado, welcome to the LDS Man's Heart by Forged and Anchored. All right, welcome everybody. We're excited. This is the first time that we're kind of getting together. This is the inaugural. Wait, is it inaugural if it's not like a...
Sounds like the right word, but is this really the first time? We won't talk about the last time.
No comment.
Well, I think it was Trake. I think Trake messed it up.
Trake?
Yeah, he messed up the last recording.
We'll just blame it on Trake. I love that.
Poor Trey. Such a sweet guy.
Such a good guy. He just messes up podcast rehearsals.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be
Shots
here.
thrown at him. He ain't even here to protect himself, defend himself at all.
So this is the Forged and Anchored podcast. It is the LDS Man's Heart, and we're just gonna jump into it. And I'm gonna set the stage a little bit, but just kind of getting us to where we want to go. The whole point of this is to be a raw, genuine, authentic LDS man.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone's gonna see that as we're interacting and in the YouTube videos and the podcast as they're listening to us, and hopefully we see that. But how do we get here? What's a start? What's a purpose? What's a vision? What's the nacimiento?
Who?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
See?
What? The what? Hold on. The nacimiento. What?
A little Spanglish.
All right, okay.
The birth of Forged and Anchored.
How did this
So
happen?
Alan, yeah,
Yeah, that's between you two, because I came in at the tail end.
well, I mean, you came in a little bit later.
Yeah, but you guys gave it the life.
We gave it
Started
the
with-
life, and
we're trying to-
this is Alan's thing that he kind of got started and got going, and he came over. So let's hear it. How do we get here? Where are we at?
Well,
I want to say, where did the idea come from? What made you start
Right.
thinking about this?
so I think the idea came from feeling isolated.
It's God, if you don't understand.
There we go.
Yeah.
From feeling isolated and feeling like I need more than just my family. And I think sometimes as LDS men, we feel like we're supposed to, and our job is, and that's a really divine purpose for us to take care of our families, for us to take care of our wives. But if that's all we do all the time, I think we get a little bit lost.
And I think that one of the biggest components to this is, and we had like a little glimpse of it earlier, I think that we've just like as LDS men, we've bought into happy wife, happy life.
You think so?
There's some truth to that, but yes.
See,
As
I
the
don't-
culture, yeah.
Yeah, really?
Oh, yeah.
See, this is the crazy part. As you guys sit here and say this, and I'm sitting here and, you know, I talk to my wife and we talk about it. I just feel like this is crazy because what I love about this is it's almost like you guys are on the inside and I'm just coming here on the outside. You know, I've been on the outside all the time and I'm coming in, but y'all see the world differently from how I see it because I hear a lot of things, but I don't necessarily give it like any, you know, I don't feed the gossip too much because I don't know what's true and what's not true until I hear specific things. Like, you know, like right now, I know me and my wife, when we talk to people, we talk about people, you know, the life in Utah as opposed to the life in other areas is different, how it's so strict and how people basically judge you so much more. It seems like you have a certain standard that you have to stand out in, whereas in other areas of LDS around the world, you don't have to be, you can just be yourself and be okay, you know?
Well, and one of the big pieces to that, and you know, we bring up different cultures, and I think that plays a huge role in it, right? Because you joined the church in Richmond, in Virginia, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know, I grew up in Arizona. Where'd you grow up out?
California.
So, like for me, when I was growing up, we, you know, I was born into the church. My parents got divorced. My mom left the church. Dad stayed active in the church, okay? And then my mom came back and kind of, you know, started engaging again in her faith when I was a senior in high school, right? So I got to see, and most of my friends growing up weren't LDS. So the only time that I was around LDS people was when I went to my dad's house for the weekend. We went to church. But then when Simone and I got married and we moved up to Idaho, it was like, whoa.
It's a different world.
It's a different world.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we went and we started, and then we moved to Utah, and we're like, whoa.
It was even more different than
more different than I
Different in like a good way, a bad way.
I think that there are a lot of pros and cons, and you know, we're not trying to bag on Utah or Idaho, or you know, we all agree that Arizona is the best, but like there are
we're here, so we'll just claim it.
Shots taken. I have nothing to do with this.
Look, you could live in Arizona, or you could be. No, I'm just kidding. But
Arizona is not the problem. It's Maricopa. It's Maricopa.
But one of the things that, you know, that I noticed was that there was a higher standard of perception. Like you have to be perceived in a certain way.
Right.
So then when we talk about the isolation of men and the LDS men experience, I think that there's a lot of this we see in the family proclamation where it's, you know, men are to preside, provide, protect, fulfill these responsibilities, right? And one of those things that we feel a lot, and that I've felt a lot, and, you know, speaking just from one LDS man's perspective, if, you know, my wife is not, like, if I'm not giving everything to her, I'm not succeeding. I'm not fulfilling that role. And I've noticed that as I've tried to kind of do that over a long period in time, that isolation was just part of it.
Yep.
And it took Simone like saying, you need to go do something.
Yeah. That's
and
interesting.
I'm like,
Well, the other part of it, this perception that you're talking about, it for everybody, if we feel like we need to be perceived in a certain way, then we put on our masks and then we act in ways that aren't authentic.
Right.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you were talking about earlier, that Forged and Anchor is all about being authentic.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that kind of, it's going to sound weird to say it this way, attracted me to you guys. I'm attracted. Let's see.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's Cortland's hair.
Hey,
number one.
Just so that we're aware, just so we're on the
confidence.
same page.
Yeah.
You're on the same couch. I got my own little section. I'm protected right here.
Not even
You
going.
see how anytime I move an inch this way, he moves an inch
He
that way.
moves that way. That
All right,
pillow,
I'll give you some room.
It's all good.
the pillow started on the other side.
There we go.
No, but keep going. You were saying, that's
So-
what kind of drew you
Yeah,
to be attracted
being,
to.
yeah, authenticity.
Everyone's attracted to me. I'm sorry.
That's right. That's right.
So it's
I think we recognize when people are authentic. We recognize when people aren't, and you can tell. It's like your BS meter, right?
yeah.
And I think that's what happens in a large. It's not a Utah problem necessarily. It's just when there's a high focus or high population of a certain kind of people, there's going to be that sense of I need to measure up in a certain way. And I think that does happen in certain LDS communities and places.
Well, and I think that, and I just want to jump in because you and I have talked about this, off record. It's the what do we call it? The what gospel? The
Prosperity gospel.
the prosperity
Yes,
gospel,
that's it.
right? And I think that we see that a lot in the Book of Mormon, where it's like, when they were faithful, they prospered in the land.
Yeah.
So then we have this like added measure of wanting to be seen as prosperous as an indication of our dedication to God.
Yeah. And so forged and anchored is the goal of it partly is to let that go. Let go of the prosperity gospel, be authentic, connect with men in a real way where we can find support when maybe our wives can't provide that kind of support.
Right.
And so I remember going to a youth camp
Mhm.
and I love doing youth camps. It's fun, love connecting with the youth, but the youth go off and play. And then the adult leaders get together and they BS and they have a good time. And I thought this needs to happen more often in a low key, authentic way. Elders Quorum is great. I love Elders Quorum. It serves its purpose well. But I think we need to be more intentional about trying to get men together. And so that's where I went to Cortland and said, I know you've got some experience with podcasts. You got some experience with these type of things. So let's do something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it was born. In fact, the Forged and Anchored, that idea of that Forged and Anchored came from asking ChatGPT. Remember that? And Cortland and I went back and forth a bunch.
Yeah.
A
And
bunch.
a
Like,
bunch.
we sat down and just
And I said, I really like Forged. And he's like, I really like Anchored. I'm like, well, then there it is. Forged and Anchored.
and I think that was part of it because Javon, you got your own story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Alan, you got your story. I got my story, and one of the pieces and elements in it is that we have a lot of LDS men,
Mhm.
right? What's the current population of the church? Like 17 million, 18 million,
Yeah. So,
something like that.
good portion of that.
So then, we just are like following basic statistics and doing no, I'm just kidding. But like, what do we got even if we say 5 million men, right? That all have their unique story. Yet for some reason, there's this unwritten expectation that you can't be you.
Mhm.
You got to be, Bishop XYZ. You got to be like this.
Yeah.
You got to be President Nelson. You got to be President Oaks. You got to be all these people.
Yeah.
And I think that we lose. What's the right way to say it? It's like we believe that God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost are three separate beings in LDS theology, right?
Yep.
But they're one. They
One
have one
purpose.
purpose,
Yeah.
and we just haven't captured that.
I think it's just what I'm seeing and what I'm noticing is I think that members of the church are way too hard on themselves. Everybody's trying to
And I'd say
live
perception.
up to perfection.
Live up to the perception.
Right, to the perception, but also the perfection
Yeah.
of what you see other people do. So if you feel like, your bishop is like that person, the man.
Yeah.
You feel like, oh man, all right, I gotta get up to his level. No, you don't have to get up to his level. You just need to do what Heavenly Father needs you to do. And if y'all paths cross, it's about, bonding together because at the end of the day, you don't know what knowledge you might have to be able to give him. Even though he might be a bishop, you might have some knowledge that he just hasn't explored yet or even know of. So you don't need to walk around feeling like you have to be like other people or live or walk in a perception. Be you. Be comfortable in your skin with who you are. But as long as you know you're doing the right things by Heavenly Father, what do you have to worry about? You know? But a lot of people don't see it that way. And from what I'm coming on, looking on, being on the outside, coming into the church, it has hurt a lot of people. It has made a lot of members not want to be a part of the church.
Yep.
A lot of people shut down and not talk about their feelings to the point that they allow themselves to deal with certain things, because we don't talk about it every day, but let's keep it real. We know there's things going on in every type of church. Now, a lot of gossip, a lot of people, certain crowds, certain groups.
Backbiting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
all
it's
that
just
stuff.
lying.
It's inevitable when you get groups of people together. That's
Right.
the unfortunate part of human nature.
Yeah, right. So, but you're dealing with all that, but you're not really talking about it. You're not trying to fix the problem. You're allowing it to build up, and you don't say nothing, and then you put your head down and you just, all right, I'm gonna just think.
Well, what's worse is you might have certain. I like in our retreats that we've done, we use the word wound. Right. You've been wounded in some way, whether it's from within the church or from without, or mistakes that we've made or mistakes others made.
Right.
We carry wounds with us. And if we don't feel like we can talk about those, if we don't feel like we can express this hurt that we may have, then we don't heal it.
No.
And I think there's a lot of value in actually talking. Yes, we need to take it to the Savior for healing. We know that the atonement can do that.
Right.
But also, if we talk about it and we're supporting each other, that combination can really bring healing. And I'm not talking about group counseling.
Yeah.
We're not really going for that. We're going for genuine friendship, genuine connection, where you can explore and talk about what might be holding your back or what wounds you might be facing. And then someone to just love you and accept you for who you are. That's not your wife, because your wife, if you have a wife and you're, if your marriage is working out, awesome. If it's not, I'm sorry. Yeah. I know that's a reality for a lot of people too, but in my experience with my wife, she actually loves me unconditionally.
Right.
And so I'm okay in her book. I need to connect with a man who can be real with me as well.
Yeah. When I think that there's just a love of connection, like women don't connect the same way.
Right. It's different.
Like Simone and we're like peas and carrots, dude. Like we party and we have fun. We'll be driving in the car and just headbanging and just like all this stuff,
Yeah.
And our kids are just in the back and they're laughing, and that, that's just how it is. But I love sports.
Yeah.
Right.
I love philosophy. I bring it up and she's just like, man, dumb. Right. And
at least she being real with you. So.
And she never says that.
No,
I can just see it.
They just, after 15 minutes of explaining something.
Yeah.
It's just like, why?
You're just listening to me to be nice.
Like the other day, I was listening to a class that I'm taking, and it's on philosophy, and I was talking about the kind of philosophical, the like beginning, right, where it's like talking about how the essence of life is fire, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, it's interesting, right. So then I start talking about it, and she's like. But what you said, Alan, I wanted to jump on this. So my background is psychology. So I'm a school psychologist, certified school psychologist, and then I'm a life coach as well. And my fascination is with connection. Like it is just remarkable. And one of the things I want to bring up two things. So with when I was in my program at BYU, we were sitting there and we had to do a research paper, right? Just as part of the program, we had to do research. And we're sitting there, and I'm trying to go through everything. And I started with a paper that was like analyzing a measure that measures how accurate this test is at defining the relationship between a teacher and a child. And I'm like, whoa. And I tried to struggle through it for like 6 months, a year, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So then I started looking around, and I found another teacher, and she works with suicide. So I'm like, okay, I want to do that. So then we started doing some research, and we find one, and we did research with very young children who lost their father to suicide. Okay. And then we did these interviews, and we're talking, and then like going through all this research, and the main outcome was that these children grew up and nobody ever talked to them about what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they start making up their own story,
Yeah.
right? Dad hated me. He did it because of me. I'm the problem. It was my fault. Or they make up whatever other story. And it's fascinating. One of my favorite, like, research studies ever, they got these mice, these rats, addicted to drugs. Okay. And they put it into the water. Okay. And they had them isolated, so they're super addicted. They just kept going to it. And then they took the rats and they put the drug water inside of a big enclosure. And then they put the rat inside of the enclosure, but there were also a bunch of other rats. And the addicted rats never went back to the drug water.
Huh.
And
That's
it's just like,
interesting.
what? So there's just this element where, in isolation, I'm not even gonna say so many. All of the problems
Yes.
happen in
Yes.
isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of my problems happen in
Yeah.
isolation.
That's where you're alone. That's where temptation sneaks in. That's where you feel like you're depressed or discouraged. You're alone. So you're going to go do something.
Yeah.
Maybe watch something you shouldn't watch. Go out, find company that isn't good. Just the depression that can come with isolation.
Yeah.
And then the difficulty with that is the anger that can come from that as well.
Yes.
And so, like, there just needs to be a way to connect and remind men of who we are, who our identity, as you talked about that a little bit earlier. I was talking to my daughter, Kimberly, who's on a mission right now. And my favorite part about her being on a mission, other than just her doing great things, is the conversations that I'm able to have with her.
Right.
With her having some perspective now on life and seeing things.
Yeah.
And Cortland, we've talked a lot about identity. And, you've shared a lot. It looks like you're pulling it up.
We're going to
Moses,
talk
yeah.
about
We're going to
talk
We can't
about
not talk about Moses and his experience with identity. But my daughter was like, that's where Satan always attacks first, is your identity. And then the world attacks the identity of God.
Yeah.
Like, we see him as something he's not. Satan wants to distort that identity. So the two things that can really help us are distorted: our own identity and the identity of our Heavenly Father. And if Satan can be successful in distorting those, then he can really have something
powerful.
Like, so it's attacking the identity that happens first.
And when we talk about this, right, it looks the same. Like, we can talk about it kind of like theologically as like a big picture isolation. Yeah. But it looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
It does.
So everybody doesn't see it as like, oh, I'm isolated.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes you're even isolated with a group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
Like Javon, and I was going to throw this out there. Like, for example, for you and your story, right?
Yeah.
You look back and I don't think that you'd say you were isolated, but you look back on under that context, and you kind of see how would that fit for you? Let's put it that way. So that way you can.
I mean, I think for me, with my story, part of me, I was isolated, but I wasn't isolated. It was like I had a lot of moments where I felt like I was by myself, but even though I was around people, like you said, with the rec, being in a group with a bunch of people, but even amongst those people, I still felt isolated because there were specific things happening to me only, and it wasn't happening to those other people.
Yeah.
You know?
And would you talk to those other people about those things?
No, because I didn't feel comfortable talking to them.
Yeah.
They couldn't understand, or they would try to push things. Oh, you tripping. It ain't nothing like that.
Yeah.
No, I know what I'm feeling. Or they make
Or
you
what's
feel
going on in my head.
stupid about the way you feel,
Yeah.
that you start believing, oh, well, dang, maybe they are right. Maybe I am tripping. Maybe I am the issue, But then when you go back to really dive into it, like now that I've done all this work, nah, fools, y'all was tripping. I wasn't tripping. Y'all was tripping. I know what I saw. I know what happened to me. I know what I had to deal with. I know who was there and who wasn't there. Like, and what I've what I've basically grown to know is that at some point you're going to have to face the music and talk to somebody. Because it's going to get to a point where your back is against the wall and you need to ask yourself, do I want to keep dealing with this and staying in this misery and staying in this pain, staying in this hurt, this anxiousness, this state of mind where I can't forgive and I'm mad at the world when everybody ain't done nothing to you? Because you become that person so much that you start acting out in everything you do.
Yeah.
In all of your interactions. And that's something that for me is like this world, even getting to know you guys and being here. I would have never thought I would be sitting here because the old Javon 6 years ago would have been like, man, I ain't finna sit there and be around them. What? Y'all done lost y'all thing. We ain't got nothing in common, bro. Like nothing at all, But that's the state of mind you have.
I mean, you're a Niners fan.
Right.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah. But you get to a point where you're so closed up in this box that you don't realize that you can step outside of that box and get to know people. You don't have to live in the fear and the pain of all the emotions and the things that you've had to endure growing up with. You can have fun and get away from that, but you got to heal. You got to talk about it. You got to let it go.
And I'm going to take that, that analogy, that visual a little bit further, right?
Right.
And it's like you're looking at the box, like you're in the box, right? And you're just sat in the corner, and all you can see is just that you're in the box.
Yeah.
But you're not realizing that there are 500 other people inside the box, all looking at the edge of the box.
Right. Right.
And then in throwing in the LDS theology and culture, it's like up here above the box is Jesus.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to get up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like we all believe it and we get it. Like, yeah, we came to earth to experience trials, right? But it's like, for some reason, it's like, but I have to deal with those trials.
And that's it right there. It's dealing with them in isolation. We've used that word a lot. But, when Christ started his ministry, I don't think he called 12 men to be with him just to establish a church organization. He called them with them, or he called them to be with him to be a support all the way to the end. He asked these men to be with him to be a support.
His friends.
And if Jesus needed that, and wanted it, well, then we need to be like Jesus.
Yeah.
And we need to have a crew.
Yeah. And not only just support Jesus, not only his disciples, they were supporting everyone else.
Yeah, and each other.
That,
and
right?
each other. Like it was
so
Brotherhood.
That's the thing that, we need to have as brothers. We need to be able to, okay, I can come talk to you.
Yeah.
And not worry about you judging me.
Yeah.
And if you do, at least I know what you really feel. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you may not always like it, but that's the reality, but that's, all right, now I know who I can talk to and who I can't talk to. Because he's going to judge me. Okay, I tried. Let me move on. But don't put everybody in the same category because it didn't work that good with your interaction with one person.
Yeah. And do you guys watch the Chosen series?
So good.
Do you watch it, Javon?
You should watch it. We need to have some watch parties with Javon.
This Chosen thing. This thing got me in it. For real, I'm so serious.
Man,
I understand the story.
real though.
You get through the first 3 episodes.
And I'm trying.
So, okay. So one of the things that I love about it is that they gave They gave this, what we're talking about, like they gave it life.
They really did.
Yeah.
Right. And one of my favorite moments in there is that when Jesus Christ in The Chosen, right? And this is scripturally based, right? He sends the apostles out two by two,
yeah.
right? To all the believers, all the Jewish people.
Right.
Okay. He sends them out. In The Chosen, he sends out Matthew.
And Peter.
No, and Z.
Oh, yes.
Right? So he sends out Matthew, and then
I was like, "Oh, you watch something different?" Because I don't know.
No, so he sends out Z, who was a zealot and actively killed people who betrayed their faith, and then a tax collector, who people actively killed, right, or who the zealots would kill, and they're kind of sitting there, and everyone's kind of like, oh, like, you're gonna send out those two, and Z, he's like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And then Jesus is like, everyone's a little taken aback that I would send you out with a tax collector. He's like, you're a tax collector, right? And then that wound, that belief, it started like stirring up. And then Jesus, Jonathan Rumi, right? he says in the moment, and he says something that's just like so profound to me, and I think applies perfectly in all of this. He says, he's no more a tax collector than you are a zealot. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah. Well, but
level the playing field.
Level the playing field, but at the same time, it's like, you have a past.
It's okay.
But you're also in the present. And 10 years ago, I don't know how long ago it would have been, but thinking about sitting here in my living room, you would never thought like, no. But now in the present, it's like, like we do have a lot in common, and it's not everything.
Which it shouldn't be, because we're individuals. But you talked about the past, and too often we live in that past. And that past dictates who we think we are. Who Satan is now saying, this is your identity because of the past. And we need to let that go.
And that's the reason why we are who we are today, because we're allowing our past and all of the things that have happened before to basically put us in a position like, okay, all the things that happened, that is me. But the reality is, it's not. It's just things that you haven't dealt with. You haven't talked to. You haven't sat down and let it go. You haven't surrendered to God. There's a lot of things you could do to get past it, but you're not willing to get past it because you're fearful. You're fearful of talking about it and dealing with it, And even with marriage mentoring that me and my wife do, that's the key thing. You cannot, we'll work with you, but we're gonna dig in your past first. We want to know.
We have to go there.
All the different things where people told you, that you weren't good enough, that you were crap, how you got bullied. Let's deal with all that. And let's sit down and let's write lies versus truth. What are the lies? These are all the lies that they told you. Now, what are the truths? Are you those things that people tell you? No, you're not. Because you overcame those things. So you can't sit there and continue to let this inner child that's inside of you protect you as an adult. You got to tell that inner child, look, it's okay. I'm an adult now. Now I can do things the way I need to. Now I can heal. I don't need you to protect me and go into the, I don't want to talk about it phase. No, talk about it.
Well, but at the same time, like being able to understand, like, you're still there. Right. Let's go. Let's talk about this and be able to understand, like, that's not you no more.
Exactly.
And then we got to work through it. And there was another one of my favorite studies. It was with the dog. The dog, and we talked about this last
time. The dogs. What is he gonna talk about the study with next?
Hey, dude, next time it's gonna be sheep. We're gonna get all the animals.
Chickens. You like chickens?
Right? Hey, I got chickens.
Let's do something with the chickens.
I'll bring them in, dude. I'll bring them inside. They'll sit on Javon's lap.
No, sir. I want no parts of things.
But this was another really good study where they're trying to figure out, and what came from this is the concept called learned helplessness. So they put a dog in a cage, right? And they put a divider, and on one side of the divider, they would put an electric current through the floor. So the dog would get shocked. So the dog would jump over the barrier to get to the other side, right? And not be shocked. And then the testers would switch it. So then it would go over to the other side, and the dog would jump and try to evade, this changing electrical current. And then the bad part for all of our EPA or what? PETA, for all our PETA people. They then sent the current through both sides. So then the dog is jumping over on one side, getting current, jumping back, getting current, and would jump back a few times until finally it just laid down and kind of gave up.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of men, for me in my life, like that was real.
Yeah.
Where these wounds that you were just talking about, Javon, where it's like a little boy was told he wasn't good enough. And then, then he's 10 years old and he makes a mistake on his art project and his art teacher calls him an idiot. Right. And then again, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And then he's 12 and he tries to talk to a girl for the first time. And the first thing he says to her is, I had eggs for breakfast.
And she looks
that's a real story, by the way. And not mine.
Yeah.
But it just kind of like reinforced time and time again. So then we're sitting here, we're at this point of our lives, and I'll just use my age, right? I'm 22, and and so then we're sitting there, and for 15 years, for 20 years, for 30 years, we've been told.
You've been 22 a long time.
Yeah, for almost 32 years. And we're going through, and it's just been reinforced constantly. So it's like, maybe I didn't believe. Maybe at one point I did believe that I was enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, there's been hundreds of people in my life telling me I'm not. So
that must be true.
That must be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only that, but the toxicity of comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have people tell you you're not good enough.
Yeah.
You just look around and think, I'm not like that person over there, or I don't think like that person, or I'm not as smart as that person. I'm not as good at basketball as that person. I know that's your jam, or it used to be. But
I got hurt too much from exercising.
Exercise, it'll kill you.
So I'm saying it will.
But that comparison is really toxic, and it's been made worse over the last 10 years with this experiment called social media.
Yeah.
Where we hop on and we immediately see everybody's best day, compare it with our worst day, and you listen to it's not a good place to be. Well, it can be.
Yeah.
I know that you're using it for good, and we're trying to as well. But
and there's sorry, I just keep going to research. There's a research study, and I sat down.
He's the researcher. Let everybody know out there.
Is it another animal?
This one was a chicken.
Psychology, man.
No, but we're sitting there, and what this researcher was able to find was that people who actively use it, they experience a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
But the people who passively use the scroll, and the watching and seeing other people's lives and following people, right? That has some detriment to us, especially we talk about like young women that it impacts, but men, like seeing my friend driving his Lamborghini, his Hurricane.
Wait, you have a friend with a Lamborghini?
No, I don't know. I don't follow people.
Not yet.
There's probably
he will at some point. Since Lamborghini is one of my big fans, so I'm just saying, I'm putting that out there.
Manifesting on the shirt.
Yes, there you go.
But it affects men.
Yeah.
We're constantly sitting there like, hey, this is currently, I just saw it the other day and it was cool. We got a guy in our ward that's in Hawaii right now, with all his kids. And I'm like, I want to take my kids to Hawaii one day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was, for me, I was just like, yeah, I want to do that. But I guarantee that there's 20 people in our ward, 20 men that are like, I wish I could take
I'm not good enough because I can't do that right now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
but that's why you gotta this is the whole point of Forge and Anchor, of you dealing with it. So you can be
Yes.
that man that not have to sit there and say, well, good for him. I can do the same thing. And if I can't, one day I will be able to.
Or
You know?
that's not my thing.
Then it's right. That's
I'm
what I'm
happy
saying.
for that family. That's
yeah.
not what we're gonna do.
We're going to do our own
We're
thing.
gonna do our own
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Me and my kids had a great time in the backyard today.
There you go.
Yeah.
My kids and I a few days ago had a great time climbing South Mountain.
Hey, great. It's a devil mountain, but
Yeah.
It's a devil mountain.
yeah, that's where I had a bike accident.
Oh, there were some people going up the trail I was on, and I thought about you.
Yeah,
I wonder if this is where it happened.
it probably is.
I know where you're going, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with you there.
Let's go. So when you came up to me and you're like, "Hey, I want to start this," I want to
Here,
start a
Jamon,
men's
you
group.
can look at my non-crashable device.
When you sitting there and you start bringing up, I want to do a men's thing, I want to get this group together, and we start working, we started kind of going through everything. By this time, Simone and I, we've already been in our thing, right? We've been doing firesides, and we've been working with the youth, and we've been doing like all these things. And this is something that has always stood out to me, because when I was on my mission, I felt it for the first time.
A connection.
Yeah, and we're going to go into the story a little bit. And then my experience afterward, it was exactly like this. And it took me years to be able to kind of understand it and put it into perspective. But I want to talk about it because this is a huge part of where we're coming from in leading and having these conversations, is coming from this story. So this is the Pearl of Great Price. This is Moses, the book of Moses.
This is the only indication that you're older than me. Glasses. But I'm wearing glasses too.
Right.
So
We're all wearing.
oh, we are.
But the difference is I take mine off. Y'all always have y'all. So oh, you do take yours off.
I take mine off whenever I don't want to see stuff. Like if I ever want to go blind, it's super easy. I just it's just gone. But I want to give a background. Context is always important for me, and I'm a stickler because sometimes I think we use scriptures out of context, and
it throws it off. Yeah.
But then we overgeneralize.
Mm-hmm.
Like this doesn't apply to everybody, and there are instances where yes, that's applicable, right? Like for example, Moses. Right, as they're leaving and going to the promised land, leaving Egypt, right? They're like, hey, you need to go and slaughter these people, right? He receives that commandment. That doesn't apply to everybody.
That's not something I need to do today.
It's not something we need to do, right?
Right.
So Moses, right, he's sitting here and he's going through and he's having this conversation, and he goes up and he's in a mountain and he's having a conversation with God, and this is his experience and his detailing of that experience with God. We're going to be reading, so this is Moses chapter 1. We're going to read 1 to 13. A little lengthy, but really good, important stuff here. Do we do it like the traditional Sunday school?
Do you want to just read a verse a piece?
That's what I figured he was about to do.
You can read until you feel tired of reading, and then I can pick it up.
I'm never tired of talking out.
It's true. I've learned that about you.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Alan said it because he knew it hurt.
You know me.
All right.
I can talk a lot too.
All right, I'll go. We all talk a lot.
The Pearl of Great Price.
Okay.
It's a good, yeah.
Do Pearl of Great Price.
Yep.
Moses.
Yeah, there you go.
1, and then we're going to read verses 1 to 13. Let's see, 13. We'll read 5, and last person gets 3.
All right.
Okay.
I'll go first. The words of God which he spake unto Moses at a time when Moses was caught up into an exceedingly high mountain, and he saw God face to face, and he talked with him, and the glory of God was upon Moses. Therefore Moses could endure his presence. And God spake unto Moses, saying, Behold, I am the Lord God Almighty, and endless is my name. For I am without beginning of days or end of years, and is not this endless. And behold, thou art my son. Wherefore look, and I will show thee the workmanship of mine hands, but not all, for my works are without end, and also my words, for they never cease. Wherefore, no man can behold all my works except he behold all my glory, and no man can behold all my glory and afterwards remain in the flesh on earth. You go out.
Well, before we go on, did you want to make any comments about that?
No, we're gonna highlight it here on this one. So
Okay.
after these next two.
And I have a work for thee, Moses, my son, and thou art in the similitude of mine only begotten, and mine only begotten is and shall be the Savior, for he is full of grace and truth. But there is no God beside me, and all things are present with me, for I know them all. And now behold, this one thing I saw unto thee, Moses, my son, for thou art in the world, and now I show unto thee. And
then right there. Right, Moses had one hell of a life. Right? He's gone through just some wild things. Right? Everything from, the occupants, the people who had enslaved his people, trying to kill all of his, trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Then being raised by them, being part of them, committing murder, defending one of his own people, fleeing into the wilderness, having to go back and fight the people who were trying to kill him, and, just like crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden he's up in this mountain and God says, my son.
Well, it doesn't even just say my son. He tells Moses who he is. He talks about how he is the Almighty and endless is my name. And you're my son. Somehow I have a relationship to this most greatest being in the universe. And I'm his son. I'm that close to him. Like, that must have been like, well, we relate are completely eye-opening to him. Yeah. And you said something there. You said all of a sudden. And I think for us, when we're reading this, we're like, man, Moses had this amazing experience. And it just kind of happened. Yeah. Well, like you had been talking about, this wasn't an immediate thing. Yeah. The timeline is 40 years, give or take, probably in Egypt, 40 years with his father-in-law, Jethro. And so this is the end of an 80-year journey, perhaps. And now it's going to be the beginning of something new for him. Yeah. So we see this as an all of a sudden thing, but I think it was a journey for Moses to find his identity. Am I an Egyptian? Am I a prince of Egypt? Am I a son of God? Am I this? Am I that? And then we get this.
Yeah.
All right, should I continue?
Yeah, keep going.
And it came to pass.
8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10, okay. And it came to pass that Moses looked and beheld the world upon which he was created. And Moses beheld the world and the ends thereof, and all the children of men which are and which were created. Of the same he greatly marveled and wondered. And the presence of God withdrew from Moses, and his glory was not upon Moses, and Moses was left unto himself. And he was left unto himself, and as he was left unto himself, he fell into the earth. And it came to pass that it was for the space of many hours before Moses did again receive his natural strength like unto men. And he said unto himself, now for this cause I know that man is nothing, which I never had supposed.
But now my own eyes have beheld God, but not my natural, but my spiritual eyes. For my natural eyes could not have beheld, for I should have withered and died in his presence, but his glory was upon me, and I beheld his face, for I was transfigured before him. And it came to pass that when Moses had said these words, behold, Satan came, tempting him, saying, Moses, son of man, worship me. And it came to pass that Moses looked upon Satan and said, who art thou? For behold, I am Son of God, in the similitude of his only begotten. And where is the glory, thy glory, that I should worship thee?
And right there. And I think that this is like the ultimate. Like if we as forged and anchored, the LDS man's heart, if we could achieve one thing, like this is what I think of.
That's the mic drop.
The mic drop, but like helping people really understand it, specifically, LDS men, and we target LDS men because we use LDS scripture. We talk about LDS theology, right? But Christian, whatever your faith, like if we could help you understand one thing, it's what your identity is.
Yeah.
And once you understand and grasp that, I mean, here's the example, right? That you have the power to be able to say, you have nothing to offer me.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that if you skip down to verse 16, that get thee hence.
Yeah.
Get thee hence, Satan, deceive me not, for God said unto me, thou art after the similitude of my only begotten. Again,
Excuse me.
I am a son of God. You have nothing for me.
Yeah.
So the question then is, how do we help men see their identity? What is the process?
I think you first have to start letting go the past and the fear and understanding that the things that happened to you in your past don't define you in this moment. You truly don't have to hold on to those things. For what? How are those things from the past benefiting you today? Are they helping you or are they hindering you? If they're hindering you, we need to do something about it. Now, if they're helping you in a positive way, meaning that and I put myself in a position, it were hindering me. I know that in everyday life, how I dealt with people, how I dealt with my family members, from the negativity, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed to when I was smoking blunts all the time. It wasn't helping me because at the end of the day, I did not see my potential. I didn't feel acceptable in God's eyes. I didn't feel like, I felt like, well, heck, I'm 40 something years now, so I might as well continue to live a ratchet life. What is it going to do for me? But the reality is that you don't know how long you're going to be on this earth. So at some point, you have to ask yourself, do I want to continue to go down this path where all of these things in my circle keep coming back and it's bad things on top of bad things? And the common denominator is yourself in that moment. What can you do to take yourself out of those things and start being positive and seeing life in a different perspective? How can you help yourself? How can you get the help you need? How can you be vulnerable and open up and talk about your emotions? Find someone, or, whether it be counselor, brother, or whatever it may be, find someone that you feel comfortable enough that you can talk to where you don't feel like they're judging.
You can peel back those
layers.
layers.
And peel back those layers. Talk about what you can in the moment. And if it's too much for you that day, come back and talk about the rest when you're ready.
And
little by little.
Little by little. And one of those things is like, again, speaking from my own perspective, right? When I reached out and I talked to, my dad about it, and he told me, man up. I'm like, okay, ain't gonna talk to you no more.
Yeah.
Right. And then as you find that person, you share a little bit, and then you start to see those brothers who really are brothers.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the magic during our first retreat that we did, was we saw that.
Other than Javon's jump roping.
That was impressive.
I got skills.
See,
all right.
Yeah. He exercises without getting injured. That was an incredible experience to watch men kind of like, what's the word? They just let down their guard and just said, okay, here's who I am. I can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then, we didn't dwell on that for long. We didn't dwell on the past, but we said, okay, here's the reality of what we see ourselves as. Let's talk about how God sees us. And the exercises that we did to develop that were really helpful. So I think a lot of people think, okay, in theory, logically, I understand, okay, I'm a son of God. But we need to take it from the head to the heart and say, what does that really mean for us? Because that's where change actually happens. Logically, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Makes sense, fine. But I need to be able to feel it in order for the change that we want to actually happen. And taking it kind of full circle, that happens so much better and even faster when we're not isolated.
Yeah. I was just thinking as you were talking, I was thinking about some of my favorite, characters from the scriptures, right? Book of Mormon, Old Testament, New Testament. One thing that stands out to me is that rarely is there like a physical event that changes people. A lot of times it's like a spiritual or a perceptual or kind of those instances, right? So like, for example, sitting here thinking about, maybe that's not the right way to say it, but like, David, David and Goliath, right? He was just a dude fulfilling his responsibilities, taking
Right.
care of his sheep, playing the harp for the king, right? And then just like because of who he was, Goliath came and stood up and challenged the armies, and David's like, "You guys, God is with us. Like, I'm not afraid. I'll go. Like, I know that God is there. I know He's my God." Or you think about like Peter, going to these, through everything they went through. It was that perceptual understanding, right? Feed my sheep, feed my sheep, feed my sheep. And he's like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
And it's just those moments where, it's not like Alma or Peter or Paul.
Yeah.
They didn't like come into a $10 million inheritance and then they started doing good.
No, they just, well, and that's the, I was just thinking of something. That's the aha moment.
The aha
The
moment.
aha moment as a teacher, that's my favorite moment in a classroom. It doesn't matter what I'm teaching. Most recently, 8th grade English, but the aha moment on a great novel that we're reading and how the author has made things happen for this character, or how to write something well or communicate something. That aha moment is the best part of teaching, and it's the best part I'm would assume for our Heavenly Father, when He's like, I want my children to understand who they are, and those spiritual aha moments, those, I like how you went there. It's not physical things that change us. Would it be fun to have the Lamborghini? Sure. I would drive it, let's be honest.
I think,
but that's not the aha moment
yeah.
that would change my life.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but no.
No, see,
Come on,
no.
say it,
I was like,
Javon.
No.
You can't-
What I was gonna say was, you said not the physical. I guess it depends on the moment of the person, because I feel like there are some things that physically that can happen to make people wake up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
I agree. Yes.
And in that moment, that is their aha.
But it has to be a combination. It can't just be this event isolated from some kind of spiritual awakening.
Right.
No, but we talk about deathbed repentance.
Yes,
we talk about like Alma the Younger being struck down, Paul being struck down. Like there are these physical things that happen, right?
Yeah.
But it is that kind of aha moment with that perceptual understanding.
But you are right. That physical can hopefully, especially if it's a negative spirit, a negative physical experience, it wakes you up and you think, okay,
now it's time for
I've got to fix something.
But why I brought that up was because so many times I've seen men waiting for the physical.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you don't need to like lose your leg in war.
Yeah.
Like that's not like the requirement.
Yeah.
Like we can just skip that and jump to like you getting it. Or I can chop your leg off, or like whatever you want.
Or waiting for the positive. Like when I make a certain amount of money, then I'll feel fulfilled. When I have this item, this car, this boat, whatever, this vacation, then I'll feel enough.
Yeah.
And if you're just chasing an empty jar if you're doing that.
Yeah. So This is it. This is us.
Yeah.
I do want to say this just in closing, and then if you guys want something, and then to say something, then Javon, just go ahead and close us out. The whole point of this is not to make people feel bad,
Right. No.
Yeah.
right? It's not, hey, LDS men, you should feel terrible.
Or men in general.
Or men in general.
Because let's keep it real. Even though we're LDS men, we want men.
We want men.
Not just LDS men. We want
Correct.
men to join in and understand this is the time to be vulnerable and start healing.
Yes. And in that process, right, there are going to be moments when we're talking about some hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be moments when we're talking about just like having fun and hanging out, and it's just that way. But I just want us to be able to understand that what people are getting, like what we're doing right now, this is our relationship. Like this is how we talk when we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And I want that to be kind of understood, that as people are watching, as people are listening, that we just want real,
Right.
and we want you to understand that as well.
Yeah.
Anything, Alan? Are we gonna
Thoughts? Just I like how you brought it up. This isn't meant to drag you through all of these bad things and feel bad. It's meant to be a gospel of rejoicing.
Yeah.
I talked about my daughter on a mission, and she's in a place right now where she just feels like rejoicing all the time because she's seeing the impact of the gospel on people's lives. And that's the miracle of being able to sit with people and watch their hearts be softened. But also, for the longest time, her and I have had these conversations that maybe we should get up and dance more. Maybe we should be like David, who danced as he brought the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem, and rejoice as we find salvation. Like, it's something to rejoice in. And I think as brothers, I said that funny, as brothers.
Yeah, as brothers.
As brothers.
Brothers. As brothers.
Brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
There needs to be more rejoicing
Yeah.
in our homes, in our brotherhood, in our elders' quorums, and here at Forged and Anchored. We want to rejoice. We want to have fun. Yeah, there's good moments of vulnerability where we can talk through the pain, but there's also rejoicing because the pain isn't permanent. It's not forever, and that's what we're rejoicing in.
Yeah, man. Perfectly said. Much else I need to really say it. Is that,
All right, wrap us up, Javon.
At the end of the day, we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to keep it trizzy. That's just because what we do. Like, subscribe, let us know what you think. We, again, are just brothers who are trying to come together and help other brothers and men mend.
There you go.
That's just really what it's about. So, if you are out there and you find yourself isolated or feel like that you can't get through whatever you can get through, you got 3 people here that we know the trials and tribulations of life, and we know that you can get through things. You just have to put God first in everything that you do. And I think that if you stay true to who you are as an individual, and you truly want to seek help or be better or want change, it can happen. Don't let anyone out there tell you that it cannot happen, because it can. I am living, breathing proof of how hellacious my life was to where I'm at now. And the things that happened to me in the past, they don't define who I am today as a man. So I leave you with that. Like, subscribe, click. Hit us up. Let us know what's good. Got any questions? Holla at your boy.
Yeah, please.
Holla at your boys. All right.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Provide some feedback. Leave some comments.
Yes, sir.
We hope that you enjoyed that podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode. As Javon closed us out there, he does it with passion. He does it with excitement. We hope that you will like, subscribe, comment, engage with us, so that way we can have genuine conversations about the things that matter, what stood out in the podcast and our episodes. These are all unscripted. They're raw. They're genuine. And we hope that as you participate, that you'll be able to have that same approach. We invite you to join us in our free community where we are connecting LDS men in one space to be able to have these conversations, to be able to talk, to be able to connect. And you can find us on School. So if you go to school.com, SKOOL.com, /the LDS Man's Heart, you'll be able to join, submit your questions, and then come participate with us in that community. Again, we're so thankful that you're here with us, that you participated, that you heard us, that you listened to us. We hope that we can engage in the future. This is The LDS Man's Heart by Forged and Anchored.